and welcome to the Cottage Industry Fibers Podcast, Episode 3. I am Kim, better known as Continental Kim on Ravelry, Plurk, and Instagram. If this is your first time joining me, welcome. I'm glad to have you, and thank you for taking a look. And for everyone else who's been here before, I am so glad to have you back for my faraway friend knit night. It's great to have the ability to reach out to some friends that I only get to see on the rare occasion, and I'm just really glad that you're here. I'm going to jump right into an apology for taking so long to record because with vacation and things moving around in my house, everything's been going really crazy, and I've taken forever to get a recording, but what I've decided to do is change things around a bit and make it that Friday is my recording day. One of the things we've been bumping into is that my husband is actually taking college courses online while he works full-time. So he needs a computer quite a bit for that. And we finally figured out that he works on Friday and I don't. So Friday seems to be the best day for me to record. So after this episode, I'll be recording regularly on Fridays, and because of that, I'm going to split everything that I have saved up since the last, 4 weeks or so since I record. I'm going to do the half that's kind of from vacation and the first couple of weeks tonight, and then on Friday I'm going to go ahead and record again and talk about the things that have happened since then. Hopefully that will make for not having to do like a 5-hour long recording, and hopefully it will also make it a little bit easier to sit down and spend a little time with me. Pick up your knitting, grab a cup of coffee or maybe some tea, and just join along. Glad to have you. Jumping into work in progress, I have 2 things to show you. I really only took 3 projects with me on vacation. In the past I've gone on vacation and I thought, oh gosh, I better pack, 7, 8 different projects because I never know what I'm going to want to work on. But in this case, we actually wound up we always planned on taking my Mini Cooper convertible on this trip, and it's essentially a 10-day trip. So packing for 2 people for 10 days and wanting to take a spinning wheel really limited how many things we could bring with us. So the spinning wheel I brought was my sidekick, just to make a little extra room, because that's the folding travel wheel from Shacked. But anyways, because of that, I went ahead and kept myself down to 3 projects during that week or 10-day trip. And the first one I have here, let me show you the bag first, is this is my awesome Slip Stitch Studios. I don't remember what size this is. Let me see if it says on the tag. It doesn't, but this is kind of one of the bigger bags. I mean, this is bigger than the 2 skein bag. I think it's kind of the next step up from there. And it's got this single handle, really great little bag. But in it I have my Viagante, I think that's right, from Martina Bem. And I've gotten some pretty good progress on it. I think I had kind of just started it off last time and really just had a tiny bit going. And again, this is on my Woolmize lace. You might notice the lighting's a little different today. We're trying it without a bunch of extra lighting, but I just don't think I'm getting true colors with it still, so we're still going to have to figure that out. But this is where I'm at with the whole thing, and I'm really enjoying how the pooling is kind of coming out. And I don't know what kind of color you're getting off of that, but kind of right in the middle of a lot of the pooling is a flash of red, and it's amongst kind of the blue and the purple, and then there's this light kind of teal around the outer edges. And that's why I really like this particular pattern for kind of the really vibrant multicolor skeins, as long as you're a pattern of pooling, because what happens is every other row you're increasing stitches, and so your pooling pattern is going to change, and you're going to get some really interesting patterning going on there. So I'm really liking that. I'm knitting it with my Hiya Sharps, and what I did is, because this is an interchangeable set, I was able to put the US 4 tip on the one that the tip that I actually knit with. And then I put a US 2, I think, tip on the side where the stitches are feeding off of, so they'll feed off much faster and much easier as I knit through, because it's just a really plain kind of simple pattern up until I get to the end at the lace work, and even that's pretty simple and straightforward. But anyways, I'm really liking that project. The one little change I did is there's a particular increase that she uses, I don't know if you can see this, in the pattern, and I use that in the garter stitch section, but I didn't think I would like that particular increase in the stockinette area. So what I did is I switched to, can you see? I switched to the, knit yarn over knit in the same stitch increase, and I'm really liking that in the stockinette. So that's one whip. The other one is the Aeolian shawl. That is the one that I was trying to decide what to do with, whether I was going to take it off the needles, change the needles, keep knitting, rip it out entirely. And I went ahead and switched needles. I switched to a pair of Hiya Sharps on this one as well, and it's actually coming along quite nicely now. Let me see. You're probably not going to be able to get much, but you can see it from last time. It's much bigger. When I showed it last time, I was right about, let's see, right here. Right here. And so since then, I've finished the beginning chart. You're supposed to do it however many times, as long as it's an even number. I did it 10 instead of 12 times because I started to realize that I might not have enough yardage to do all 12. So I did 10 repeats of the initial chart, and then made it through the transition chart. Gosh, you probably can't see any of this. Let's see. Made it through the transition chart, and I'm working my way through the first agave chart. This is a pattern by, oh gosh, did I not write it down? I did. Wait. By Elizabeth Freeman, and it's actually a free pattern on Knitty from 2009. So you can, find that, and if you want to check it out, and you can do that in a variety of sizes. You can go anywhere from like a single skein hand spun yarn project all the way up to, I think one of the ones that shows in the examples, the biggest version, and the one I was originally making, but I've changed my mind. That one, literally the model that's wearing it is it almost goes to the ground, so it's like a really, really long triangular shawl. But anyways, I'm really happy with how it's going now, so I'm glad I decided to keep going and work on this project some more. So anyways, and the reason I didn't show you the bag I've got it in, I'll go ahead and show you. It's a little embarrassing. It's the original shopping bag that I bought it in from the local needle, which is only an online business anymore. They're not a local yarn shop, storefront anymore. And actually, I think she's trying to clearance out what she has left. She's been just an online shop for a couple years now, and now she's kind of clearancing out what she has. But anyways, yeah, so this, broken handle, just, I know it's bad, but Like, I don't have enough project bags that I could actually put this into a project bag. But I haven't. Maybe now that I've given it a little more love, it will earn its way into a project bag. But anyways, okay. That's all I have for works in progress that I had taken with me on vacation. And then I also, like I said, I brought my sidekick, so I did some spinning. The first thing I did was the Polworth wool top from Southern Cross fiber, and this is, I think I showed it before, but this is the fiber here, and it's a really nice Polworth. It's purple and blue and brown. I'm doing really bad with the camera today. Purple and blue and brown, and the name of the colorway is Siren Song. I really am doing horribly with the camera. What is wrong with me? I'm looking in the wrong place. Not showing it right. Can you see it? Anyways, so I had 2 4-ounce braids, actually. This is what's left of the second braid. I actually took only 1 braid. I don't know why. I guess in trying to limit packing, I only took 1 of the braids with me. And this is the bobbin from that first braid. Can you see? So you can really kind of see the greens and a little bit of the purple and some of the blue showing up. But that was the bobbin that I finished, and it wasn't until I got home that I could work on the other bobbin. So I had a conundrum. I wanted to keep spinning, and I was on vacation, but I was out of fiber. So I had to go to the fiber shop. I had to. It was important. So I went to the Smoky Mountains Spinnering in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And I'll talk more about that in a little bit when I talk about my vacation itself. And what I got there was, I also only had 1 bobbin with me, which again was just a stroke of brilliance on my part. So I bought an extra sidekick bobbin, and I also got some, this is just mixed BFL, undyed. It's just a blend of white BFL with a natural colored, brown or gray BFL, and they were just blended into a roving, and you spin straight off of that. Let me show you here. This is what it looks like in the braid. And see how it's just kind of a nice swirl of white and brown. And like I said, it came from, where is it? Smoky Mountains Spinnery. Can you see that? Oh my gosh. So mixed BFL at 4 ounces. Now, I only bought 1 braid, which is what you see here. So somehow I managed a 2nd braid, and I'll talk more about that later too. But anyways, this is what this beautiful fiber looks like in person. And let me tell you, there is something about spinning undyed fiber that is so just relaxing, because you don't have to worry about how's the color transitioning, and it hasn't been processed beyond what they did to get it into a roving form, so there's no extra little bit of felting or where that wool just kind of wants to grab onto itself. It just wants to draft. It wants to it just wants to be spun. It wants to be spun, and it's just such a pleasure to work with. So a lot of times when people are starting off, they really gravitate more towards the colorful braids because they're a little more exciting. But if you're looking for something peaceful and relaxing and something you just don't have to think too much about, I cannot recommend enough a beautiful, undyed, natural fiber. Wool, predominantly. But anyways, okay, so those are the 2 spinning works in progress during that time. And I do have a finished object. It's the 3rd knitting project that I brought with me on my trip. This is just a pair of vanilla socks from Bad Amy. It's like an 80-20 nylon blend. This one was supposed to have a little glitter in it, but it didn't have much, so she kind of sold it to me as just the regular 80-20 blend. But this is, oh my goodness, what color? Oh, Noel is the name of this colorway, and it's that pretty red green stripe, and then I got it with the contrast skein for the heels and the toes, and I used a little bit at the top of the cuff. So this is just a vanilla sock, just straight stockinette with the increases through the gusset, but the heel that I used in that whole transition is from the Vergeven pattern by Renee Strauss. But you can use whatever heel you like. Vanilla socks. The one thing I like about vanilla socks is you can really, especially toe up, toe up, cuff down, either way, works great. But what I particularly like in this case was the fact that when you go toe up, you can kind of, it's almost like your gauge swatch. You can start knitting, and then you get up to about where you think you might want to start some gusset increases or whatever you want to do, and you can measure your gauge, and you can realize, okay, I'm getting so many rows to the inch, I'm getting so many stitches to the inch, and then you can adjust your pattern as you go to allow for that. And I mean, you could do that cuff down as well, but once you've already cast on that cuff, if you start getting a different gauge than what you expect, you might be a little hard to change it at that point. Whereas when you're still in the toe of a sock, you just increase a little more and get a little bigger while it's still down where your foot is small. So, all right. So that's that finished object. Moving right along. I think really I just have my travel and the shop I went to and a couple other things to talk about, not project related. So my husband and I, for the first time, took a 10-day vacation, just the 2 of us, and we went up into the Smoky Mountains. We started off by going to Helen, Georgia, and Helen, Georgia is northern Georgia, right as you get into the Smokies. It's a German-themed town. It's kind of touristy, but the hotel we stayed at, called the Hellendorf Inn, was right on this like creek or river, and they had where you could go down and you could sit by the water, and there were picnic tables, and you could have a barbecue out there. Or from our room, we had a balcony view that looked down and down to the water and the trees, and it was absolutely gorgeous and so peaceful. Hopefully, if I've got this whole picture thing figured out, you'll be seeing pictures of it here and there as I'm talking about it. But so what I was able to do while I'm there is I was able to spin from my balcony overlooking this beautiful water, and the view. And then later the next morning, we were up kind of early, so we walked down and we went and sat where the picnic tables were, right along the water's edge, and I got to spend there for quite some time. There was a couple of people fishing, and it was just such a peaceful and beautiful place to be. And then at the same time, you can leave the town, you can drive right nearby. I mean, literally, I think it took maybe 5 minutes to get to the entrance of the park, and then another 5-10 minutes to drive up to where Anna Ruby Falls is. And I think it's only like a 3/4 of a mile hike or something up to the falls, but it gets really steep at points. The falls are absolutely gorgeous, so it was worth the hike. But It was tough. It was steep, and I mean, I took pictures when we got up there just to prove that I made it, that I survived the trip. But it was worth it. It was absolutely worth it. And there's some beautiful drives. And then on the way back down, so this is the first day or two of our trip. On the way back down, we went to the gift center. And while we were at the gift center, I forgot to bring it in. Shoot. Anyways, while we were at the gift center, my husband found a walking stick. And it was like $25. It's kind of this metal collapsing, it's this big when it's collapsed, but then it's a full length walking stick when you have it opened up. And he suggested maybe it would be a little easier to walk the mountain trails with this walking stick. And I was, thinking, how much help is that going to be? But then this woman said, oh my goodness, it saved her knees, and that's what I'd been feeling most, the pain. I was getting some, pain in my knees. So I went ahead and got this walking stick that my husband recommended. And I also got a pair of cotton Fair Isle knit socks that they're the same colors and the same Fair Isle pattern, but the colors are different. And that's what I forgot to bring in to show you, but maybe I'll remember next time. But anyway, so I got these hiking socks, cotton hiking socks, which are extremely comfortable. They were great too. And this walking stick. And I cannot tell you how important that walking stick became through the rest of our trip, because we wound up doing a lot of hiking down to falls, and our hotel in the next town that we went to, we actually had to go down a really steep path to get to the room. So without that walking stick, I would have been a world of hurt. So I'm thrilled that I got that. Anyone else, you got knee problems, you need to walk uphill, downhill, get a walking stick. But anyway, so we enjoyed our time in Helen. We were there for about 2 nights. And then we went from there across the Smokies. Took about 3.5 hours to get to Townsend, Tennessee. But before we went to Townsend is when we stopped at the Smoky Mountain Spinnery to get my extra bobbin, because I'd already almost finished that Southern Cross fiber in those 2 days in Helen. So we stopped to get my extra bobbin and to get that BFL. And I was trying to be so good because I didn't know how much the trip was going to cost, how much goodies we were going to find over the next 10 days. So I limited myself to those 2 things. And that's in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I don't know if I mentioned that. But so we went there first, and then we went around and we went to Townsend, and we stayed in this bed and breakfast cottage sort of location. It's called the Richmont Inn. It was so beautiful. It was just amazing scenery. I think I'm going to keep using the word amazing a million times talking about my vacation, but really, truly, if you're looking for a wonderful bed and breakfast and you love the mountains and you want to be near areas like Cades Cove, Townsend's a beautiful area. There's some great mountain drives around there. You're still really close to Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg. Check out the Richmont Inn in Townsend, Tennessee. It's not touristy like Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg. It's very peaceful. It's the food. Oh my goodness! Every night you get dessert at the B&B, and then every morning you get the breakfast. And we had Scotch eggs and something they called Richmont bacon, which was like bacon with brown sugar and some other seasonings or whatnot coated around the bacon, and then the whole thing is fried, I guess. It was fabulous. I really have to see if I can find that recipe somewhere, because it's not something I could do regularly, but a special treat every now and then might be nice. Okay, so that was the Richmont, and we spent 2 nights there. One night of which we actually had 2 tornado warnings in the middle of the night, so that was exciting. But it didn't make the stay. It actually made the stay a little better, because the skies leading up to that storm were breathtaking. I mean, you can't even describe. You can't take a picture. You can't explain it any other way to just tell somebody they have to go and see it for themselves. And then the next morning, again, the mountains with the clouds coming across, you know why they call them the Smoky Mountains. It's just unbelievable what you can see up there. And we went up for a drive to Cades Cove, and we saw a lot of wildlife. We saw some deer that literally would let you just walk right up to them. We saw turkey. We saw, what else did we see? There's supposed to be bear in the area. Luckily, we did not see any. Although the Richmonts said that at one point they had a mama bear and her baby bears coming and eating from the bird feeders. So to me, that would be a bit exciting, but they thought it was very cute. So that was Townsend. Oh, and there's some great caverns we didn't get to go to, but we're planning on going back. We'll definitely check out those caverns when we're there. Those are called Tuckaleechee Caverns, I think is what the name of them was. I can't remember exactly, but it was something like that. It was right in Townsend, so it'd be easy to find. Okay, let's see. What else do I have here? Okay, so from Townsend, then we went on to the main part of our vacation, which the first 5 days was kind of us time, just the two of us, just going in these nice places to stay. And then the last 5 days were spent with 700 other mini owners. Well, I should say 700 other minis, about 1,000 other mini owners. And we spend the whole time, we go to Fontana Dam. It's near what they call the Dragon. And the road is US 129. It is, gotta get my numbers right, 318 curves and 11 miles. The speed limit is 30 miles an hour. And 30 miles an hour is kind of fast in a lot of the areas on that road. A lot of car groups come out there and will spend time, motorcycle groups, car groups will come out and just spend days, out in this area driving the drives, because it's not just the Dragon. You can drive over to Bryson City, you can drive across the Foothills Parkway, you can drive up to some places called Klingman's Dome and see beautiful outlooks. You can drive an hour to Gatlinburg. There's so many things to do and see, and it's all up in the mountains. It's all very peaceful and lovely. We're actually talking about retiring up there because we love it so much. But anyway, so while we were up there, we got to do a lot of fun events with the mini owners. Like I said, it's not just about driving the Dragon, although we do that quite a bit. One of the things we did, and I've got it right here, let's see, is we did glamour shots. And I'm sure everybody's familiar with glamour shots. It's where you get all dressed up and you go and you have your pretty picture taken. But we don't do it for us. We do it for our cars. So this is my glamour shot. Let me see what we can do without a glare. That's the glamour shot of my car. I might actually be in the picture next year. Now that we got one of just the car. I know you wanted to see that. I know you did. So anyways, that was just one of the fun and silly things that we did while we were up there. But we had a great time at Fontana Dam. And it got even better when the last weekend of our vacation, my best friend, Kristen, come to Silver on Plurk, or it may just show up as Silver, and K-Bell on Ravelry. She and her husband came up because they have a convertible VW Bug, and the VW Bug owners come up that same weekend. So they came up to meet with their car group to drive the Dragon, and we spent Friday night together having a pizza night with the VW owners. We were kind of the black sheep, as it were, because we were parked our one Mini with all the VW owners. And oh my gosh, I guess it's called a Beetle. Not supposed to call it a Bug. I don't know. They call it the new Beetle. That's all I know. But anyway, so we went and we had pizza with the Beetle owners group, and they were fabulous, welcoming, and then we each, with our separate car groups, went driving on Saturday. And then on Sunday, it occurred to me that I really needed more BFL because I was almost out of what I had bought. And I knew Kristen would really want to go. to Smoky Mountain Spinnery. Excuse me. And we had done really well on how much we spent on our trip. So I wanted to go back to Smoky Mountain Spinnery. Now, her husband was eager to get back because this was kind of a short trip and not exactly something that they had a ton of time to do. But through careful negotiations and me letting him drive my Mini on the Dragon, he conceded and said that we all could go to the Smoky Mountain Spinnery. It was well worth it, let me tell you. Because when we went back, I was able to take more time to really look and see what they had. And the great thing about this shop is that they're really geared towards spinners and weavers. They have knitting yarn, but they have shacked wheels. They have Magicraft wheels. They have Ashford. They have looms. They have triangle looms. They have lace bobbin pillows. And I know I'm getting away from spinning and weaving, but they just have so many different types of needlecraft supplies, but more your kind of not your everyday. I mean, they had knitting needles, of course, and like I said, some knitting yarn, but really it was mostly spinning and weaving, and then, you know, little odds and ends here. They have that's the upper level, and then they have a lower level that's only open, I think, for classes, where they have giant looms. I mean, giant looms. They have fleeces all laid out. Up in the shopping area, they had a fleece that she had purchased at Maryland Sheep and Wool. It was like one of the champions from Maryland Sheep and Wool last year. It was a Cormo cross, and she's selling it by the ounce. I would have bought some, but I've got like 9 pounds of Cormo waiting to be processed already. But yeah, she had that. She had other raw fleece that you could buy by the ounce. She had hand spun natural fiber. She had all sorts of breeds that I had not seen before. So here's where I get to show you what I bought. So one of the breeds that I got is called Manx Lofton, and I don't even know if you're going to be able to read that, but I'll show you a little more about it in a minute. So again, this is from the Smoky Mountain Spinnery. It's 4 ounces of Manx Lofton. And let me show you another one that I got. This is Morit Shetland. Okay. And I'll tell you in a sec while I'm showing you both at kind of the same time. Okay. Shetland Morit, both 4 ounces. And I don't know if you can tell, but they look like they are almost the identical color. But the difference in feel, it's not that much different, but it's different enough that you can tell that they're not the same breed. You know, I think if I had to say, I'd say the Shetland, oh, this is a very nice Shetland. I'd say the Shetland is maybe a little bit softer, a little tiny bit finer. But this Manx Lofton is something I've never even heard of before. So, of course I had to grab it because I want to see how it spins. And then I just got a couple of Shetland fleeces, but I wanted to see what, a well-prepped roving would look like and how it would spin, so that I can compare as I'm processing those 2 fleeces and try to get it, pretty well prepped, so something kind of to judge it against. But I'm actually considering if they spin up, if they kind of want to spin about the same thickness for the singles, I'm thinking about maybe playing them together and then washing them and see how that goes. But those are those 2 breeds. And then the last bit of fiber that I got was this here. It's a very dark brown. This is 4 ounces of Tibetan yak. And let me tell you, this is the softest stuff. It is, I don't even know what to compare it to. I really don't. I have cashmere. I have Kiviat. I have vicuña. But the vicuña is more of like a cloud of fiber. It's kind of like a bunch of little teeny, super short lumps. The Kiviat is also very short. And I guess if I had, I think I would compare the softness. I don't know if you can even see those singles, can you? I think I would compare the softness to like a cashmere or a Kiviat, but the length is longer. So it's super soft, but I think it's going to be a little easier to spin. So I'm really, really excited to see how that spins up. I think it will spin super fine, and will make a really lovely lace weight. And honestly, for something that's so unusual, $32.95 for 4 ounces, that's a steal. I mean, maybe it's not. Maybe I don't know how much Tibetan yak costs. But when I felt this and I looked at it, I thought, you know, I couldn't go wrong with that at that price. So anyways, that was those two that I got. And then, look what I got here. I got a little something for you guys. It'll come in the bag and everything, and they were very nice to try to wrap it up nice and soft, nice and pretty, but I want to show it to you. So I'm going to have to pull it out here. One thing they put in every bag, which I thought was pretty cool, is, first of all, their business card, which makes sense that they would put that in there. I don't know if you can read any of that. I will link to their store on the board, you know, on Ravelry. But they also put this little sheet in here, Smoky Mountains Spinnery's motto. It kind of explains, you know, their feeling about things. And that's going to be in your bag as well. And then it's not much, but it was kind of a cool thing. This is a braid of, oops, I dropped your bag, sorry. Mash 'em. Like I said, it wasn't, you know, it's not a big thing, but I thought you might get a kick out of giving it a try. So 4 ounces of mash 'em. It's kind of a pretty natural gray. I just thought you might be excited about that. So I'm going to open up a giveaway thread when I get done recording here. And, you know, we'll do the whole random number generator thing, and one of the lucky viewers will get to have that for themselves. I will be happy to send that to you, and I look forward to seeing what you think about it. I bought one other thing when I was there, and it's actually pretty cool, because I don't buy things that aren't cool. I just thought I'd put that out there. But anyways, I got this book, and I kind of wanted to do a review to give you an idea of what it is like. It is called Beautiful Sheep. Okay? And the best way, I think, for you to explain to you about this book is to compare it to another book that I have that I think a lot of people are familiar with. And that is my Fleece and Fiber source book. Let me get back here so you can see everything. Okay. So, Fleece and Fiber source book is seriously like, if you want to know about a breed, it's not just wool, it's goats, it's camelids, it's Kiviat, it's other spinning fibers, you know, you're going to find that in here, and you're going to find a whole lot of information about spinning that fiber in here. Okay, so this is a great resource book. I recommend this to anyone who has any intention of trying various breeds, just to get an idea. You know, everybody spins it differently. You know, everybody's going to find something that works for them better with whatever it is they're spinning, but this will give you a great starting point. This, on the other hand, is just a coffee table book. It is really about beautiful sheep. And as an example, I want to show you here, in my fleece and fiber source book, if I look up a basic breed like BFL, blue-faced Leicester, it's one that people are familiar with. There's a picture of the sheep, and here's a picture of some yarn, and a lot of information about the characteristics of that particular fiber. And the other thing it really goes into that's awesome is, let me see if you can see it. Average fleece weight, average staple length, and also, come around so I can see what I'm doing. It shows what a lock of fiber looks like unwashed, what it looks like washed, what it looks like spun 2-ply, what it looks like spun long draw, what it looks like knit up, so you can see there is a lot of resource here about BFL. But in this book, when I look at Blueface Leicester, it has a little bit of pertinent information, just kind of this page. But then it has, I pulled out my darn bookmark. Oh well. Then it has literally a glamour shot of the sheep. They took a picture of a champion, like a award-winning champion at his best, and put it in the book. They also did this for the Manx Lofton. So that breed that I'd never, really heard of before, they put that in here. And so look at this beauty. Look at the horns on this guy. So this is a champion Manx Lofton. Okay, so it's got a little bit of information here. And that's just, for me, in this book, it's more for fun, just for, hey, what's up with that sheep? And then a picture of the champion. What's this guy? The Balwin Welsh Mountain. The Hill Randor. So it's got all these great breeds that I've never even heard of, and just showing what a champion looks like. It shows all different types of sheep. It's definitely a coffee table book. It has a couple different pictures at the back that they call reportage. I don't know if you can see this. And it's just behind the scenes of what it takes to put on, one of these wool shows. But mostly it is just, let me see, beauty shots of sheep. Isn't that great? I love it. So, just so you can see the difference real quick. Here is the Fleece and Fiber source book information on the Manx Lofton. Let me see, can I get you, there's the picture of, oh my gosh, this camera problem I'm having. There's the picture of the sheep. Here's the picture of some fiber. Okay, what it looks like unwashed, washed, spun. Average fleece weight 3 to 5.5 pounds. Average staple length 2.5 to 5 inches. And this is kind of cool. It's got some information of using Manx Lofton, and also it was such a rare breed. It gave some information about what they did to save that breed. So I thought that was pretty cool. And finally, just super quick, because it's an adorable picture, and because you're getting some Masham, I thought I would show you a picture of a mama Masham and her babies. Aren't they cute? It's actually, the Masham actually is not in the Beautiful Sheep book, and it says it's actually a cross produced by breeding a Teeswater ram, or sometimes the similar Wensleydale, to either a Dalesbred or a Swaledale ewe, and now and then they'll use a Ruffell ewe to produce this hill country breed. But anyways, it's cool. Fun to spin. I think that's really it, all that I have about Smoky Mountain Spinnery. If you are ever in the Gatlinburg area, it is definitely worth the trip to stop by and say hi. It's wonderful people working there. Oh, and if you're with your husband, attached to the shop, literally like open, it's part of the shop, but its own shop kind of thing, is a fly shop. It's like a fishing, fly, reel, rod, whatever shop. So our husbands went over there, and they enjoyed listening to the guy over there talk about, how to fly fish and the different reels and, lures or whatever that you make and use. And I don't know anything about it because I was busy looking at fiber. But anyway, so keep the men busy, and the ladies can look at the fiber. And I shouldn't even say that because maybe the guys spin too. But anyways, one last thing I have to talk about real quick because I am in love with them. I don't know if you've noticed this bracelet that I am wearing. It is actually by Vintage Rose Knitting Boutique. And I have gotten quite a bit of her stitch markers lately. But somehow, in moving everything around in our house, have lost every single one of her business cards. So how I did that, I don't know. I did. The website is vintageroseloves.com. I will post a link to that. I just had to share with you what she has. I'm getting up close so you can see. She has stitch markers, and a lot of them are kind of geeky themed. Like, are you going to be able to see any of these? This is the Downton Abbey set. So there's like a chair and a clock and a little hat and a boot and a key and an umbrella and all these adorable little charms are stitch markers. And you get to pick, whenever you order, you get to pick, do you want a small ring, which is what these are, or a large ring, or a claw. And a claw is where you can, a removable stitch marker. She also has, so she has these safety pins too that are a great way to hold them. I have another one. And this one is holding half of my Doctor Who set, which is over here, and it's got the scarf and a rose for Rose and the hand, and people who know Doctor Who will know what these things are about. Bad Wolf and things like that. And then this one here is the Knitting Queen set. I don't know if you can see these. There's like a yarn with needles and a spinning wheel and a sweater on the needles and a yarn, and this one says Knitting Queen. But these are on the large rings. Okay, so I have that. And then this bracelet has the removable markers on it. And these, the ones I showed you before are sold in sets. But these are the deluxe or something luxury markers, and they're sold individually. And they have a lot of pretty detail. And this is like a woven heart. And this is a little gnome that I got because we lived in Iceland for a while, so a gnome was very apropos for that. And again, here is the yarn ball with needles in it, and I love to knit. And see, I have a spinning wheel one, and I've got one that's the Bible, and I've got a snowflake, which again is our love of snow kind of reference. I have another one that's on my knitting. I actually used one as a knitting marker. That's a coffee mug, and you can buy those individually, and they are absolutely adorable. The other holders I have for them, yes, I said holders, look at this beautiful little necklace. And it's got, this here is the clasp. And this is the rest of my Doctor Who set. So there's like it's a phone box, but it's supposed to represent the police box and whatnot on there. And there's, here, let me do it this way. Sorry, gotta get all this hair out of the way. Okay, so you can see there is, the markers are held on this clip, and then as I need a marker for a project, I just open up this little kind of clip here and pull off a marker. So there's a bunch of cute, see there's an angel. And then the leaf and the little yarn ball is kind of attached as part of the chain. And then I have the same thing, which I haven't put any markers on it yet. But, sorry, not trying to hypnotize you, I swear. This one, again, is a marker with a little yarn ball, marker on it. And that one, you get to pick whatever color you want when you get these. So this one is a keychain, but I'm actually going to hook it to the, like a loop on my knitting bag. So when I don't want to wear the necklace, I can just wear this. But anyways, I can't recommend these enough. They're wonderful. I love the little charm bracelet. I love being able to just, when I want to mark, this is where I left off last, I just pop one of these off, put it on my current progress, and I'm all set. So anyways, so that is, again, it's knittingroseloves.com is the website if you want to check it out. And the name of the company is Vintage Rose Knitting Boutique. She has bags and a couple other things as well, but I'm a really, really big fan of the stitch markers and the stitch marker jewelry. So I think that's about all I have tonight. I know I had only recorded twice before, but I think I did better those times than I did this time as far as, looking in the right place and all that. So, forgive me. We're still working out the kinks, and hopefully we'll get this going, and, you'll stick around and keep on joining me, and be sure and come and join us at the Ravelry group, because that's where we're going to have the giveaway, and also, we can share our current projects. I'd love to see what you guys are doing too, It's great to be able to reach out and have contact with these people that maybe sometimes online is the only place I ever get to meet you. But anyways, come and check us out, Ravelry, the Cottage Industry Fibers podcast group. And again, I am Continental Kim, and I look forward to seeing you next time.